All right. Let me know if you can hear me. Let's see if I can hear myself. Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right. I can hear myself, so I know you can hear me. Okay. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Happy Sunday. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So I hope y'all had a wonderful night after Colorado's lost to TCU. I hope y'all had a good night and a good day. And we're back. We're back now. I'm excited. I'm excited because there was some good football played today, and one of our own, Jimmy Horn Jr., balled out in his NFL debut, and we knew he would, given the opportunity. Now we don't know why on earth they were so hot and heavy on him, but then things changed and he just wasn't getting any playing time. But he made his debut nonetheless, um, versus Miami. The game overall was good. It was a great back and forth game. I thought Tua played well. Bryce Young, I thought he played well, but he struggled a little bit. Leggett, they were on his back. The media was on Xavier Leggett's back to stop being the good old country boy and talking about raccoons and eating raccoons and go out there and catch some passes. And he did. He had a touchdown a day. So Carolina turned around a bit. But again, Miami was also struggling. So it was a battle of the struggling teams. I feel like they were both 1-3. And one of them had to lose. And I do believe the Panthers won that game. I got the stats right here for us to take a look at. Um, but Jimmy did really well. He actually had opportunities as a wide receiver. They used him receiving and rushing. He had 4 touches overall. So I think he had 2 as rushing for 10 yards, so averaging 5 yards a catch. But what I thought was impressive was the 2 catches he did get in this game, averaging 10 yards per catch. So he's somebody that they should be able to keep in the game all the time and go to. I don't know the circumstance of him getting in, if somebody was out injured or whatever. But, it's obvious that Jimmy Horn Jr. is pro ready. And today, I don't know who interviewed him. I don't know if Bucky was there or not. But in the locker room, the reporters were asking him about the positive things that his coaches tells him, so he can stay ready. And then one of the reporters asked him, is Coach Prime like that? Does he tell you or used to give you a lot of positive things? And he said, yeah, Coach Prime is the truth. Now, Jimmy is not one for words. And given how they try to come for Shedeur, it's kind of a good thing. He's not one to be so chatty, right? It's a lot of one-word answers. They keep asking questions, and he like, he say some things to me. He'll try to fill it in. But it's going to be hard to get him on a soundbite and use it against him. So shout out to Jimmy on his debut. He did a good job. I hope they keep going back to him, right? He's an integral part of the team, and he's a good teammate. The one guy that's the weather number 5, Rico, I forget his last name. He's the running back. I think he kind of got injured a little bit, but even when he was doing well, Jimmy would walk up behind him. They had their little hands, their little whatever they be doing together, whatever. And I said, okay, so Jimmy has fit in nicely with Carolina. He made some new friends on the team. He's a good teammate. When he's out there, if he's just out there blocking, he actually had a good tackle today, running the guy out of the out of bounds. So all around, he's good for the Carolina Panthers. So I would expect to see Jimmy continue on into playing on the field because they won today, right? They have been on a losing streak and he was inactive. So it seems like to me the correlation is there. Put Jimmy in the game and let him, further the game. And that's what happened. It was a great back and forth. It wasn't a blowout or anything. And it was a good game. So I don't know if y'all had a chance to watch the Panthers. You know who I didn't watch yet? I was waiting on Travis tomorrow. LaJonte. So if y'all watched LaJonte today, let me know how that went. Now, what I did have, his girlfriend posted some cute photos of what she was wearing to the game, and it was adorable. But maybe we'll talk about that on the next segment of Bait. I'm sure y'all might not want to know what she's wearing to the game. You might want to know about LaJonte. But if he played, I know he bowed out. He always does. The question is, the news for LaJonte is, did they put him in as a wide receiver? That's the news I'm looking for. So shout out to Jimmy. Shout out to LaJonte if he's still playing. So, I'm happy there. All right. Let's talk about what y'all want to talk about. Let's let the Browns hold this L, right? Let's hold this L because they went over there and they lost. Now I know what they're gonna say. I know what they're gonna say. They didn't lose by that much. Dylan could stay in there because he only lost about 4 points. But hey, that don't tell the whole story. See, they did exactly what I said they were going to do. What did they do? Let Quishon Junkins and the running backs do the heavy lifting. Let's take a look at the stats for Cleveland because they tell more of the story than the score. And y'all know I sat down and I did not watch the highlights. I tried to a little bit, but it's not exciting football, right? Quishon Junkins is more exciting, I would say. Quishon Junkins is more exciting than the Dylan part, and I think that's why they're giving the ball to the running backs. All right, so I had this queued up, so let's switch from the QL, L in London at that. So there's a lot of conversation about moving on to Shedeur. We're gonna talk about that because Rex Ryan was backpedaling today. And I wasn't even anticipating on running into him. I was just watching the show. See, they tricked me. They put Randy Moss up there. They put Randy Moss on the desk. I'm like, oh, that's Randy Moss. So I'm watching Randy Moss talk. The next thing you know, the camera pan over and Rex Ryan is talking about Shedeur. I'm like, see, that's what they do. So shout out to Randy Moss. He has a segment called You've Been Moss. So they've made him an integral part of, I guess that's ESPN that they over there on. But they let Rex come back, but he had to change his tune. So I'm sure he had a good talking to, but he still slipped in something in there at the end. We're going to talk about that. All right, so let's take a look at these stats, shall we? I already looked at it before, so I can know what the hell it was I was talking about. So we have right here, they both scored. I think Dylan scored first and with like 6 minutes on the clock. Then Minnesota scored. So the Browns got on the clock first. And as you can see, the game ended up 21-17, 4-point differential. They're going to say, that's not bad. That's not bad. But see, here's the part that I'll be looking at. I'm looking at, okay, so I have Dylan, right? 19 to 33. This is about 57%. This is bad. See, he got 33 reps. 33 reps and only used 19 of them. This just like what he did in camp. About 50, 57, 58%, right? So he doing the same thing in the game that he is. Now, when Flacco played, they had Flacco up there with like 45 reps because they were trying to use Flacco a lot to try to get him knock the rust off. Let's just say that. And that didn't work. Dylan is only a hair slightly better than Flacco. So while he didn't have any interceptions, he had 2 touchdowns, 190 yards, but he's 57% accurate. And y'all know how I like to use the part with the colors so you can clearly see how quickly you can get a quick glance of how the game really went. Of course, there were 322 yards, but only 182 on rushing and on passing. But look at rushing. This told you 140 yards on the ground. This told you this is how the majority of the game went through the running backs. And I said they just waiting on Quishon Junkins to come back so that Dylan can hand off the ball to him. I said coming into London, I said I bet Quishon Junkins breaks 100 yards for the first time this year. And guess what? 110 yards out of 23 carries. But they had 140 yards overall. So they spread the ball around with the running backs. And all of this is to prop up Dylan. Dylan had 2 carries for 5 yards, which is not much, 2.5. But everybody on the roster as a running back got an opportunity to touch the ball, including Dylan Sampson. Y'all remember Mary Cabot asking, what's his name, Stefanski, about is Dylan gonna get out there? And he's talking about Dylan who? This guy right here with 1 carry and negative yards. That's who he tried to pretend like he didn't know who she was talking about. It's this guy right here, right? So just like I said, Quishon Junkins broke over 100 yards. This is really who carried the game. The running back room carried the game. And I don't even know if Malachi Corley, number 83, I think he might be a tight end. So they threw him out there too and let him help. So yeah, when you look at the colors, when you look at the chart, the graph, you can tell they just had Dylan out there to snap the ball, let him do a little razzle dazzle so they can keep him in the game. And they're going to say he only lost by 4 points. But they're not going to say he was only 57% accurate, which means if the game were flipped, and he had 252 passing yards, or he had let's see right here. What did the quarterbacks have for Minnesota? Let's see. Carson Wentz, if he had 34 opportunities or more than or 45, let's say what Flacco had, he gonna have some interceptions in there. So they keeping it conservative with Dylan. Oh, he scored his first touchdown from how many yards away? He was in the red zone, right? So the exciting football, the deep passes, that's gone because he don't have that ability, or they don't want him to have that ability. Just like Jackson Dart, and we're gonna talk about that game. If you thought that the Panthers and Miami was good, ooh, the Saints and the Giants was extra good. And it was extra good because the reporters was like, yeah, Jackson Dart is going to play the Saints, the team that passed on him. I was like, right. All right. So the Saints won the game. So we're going to talk about that because I'm going to tell you something right now. That was good. Jackson Dart, the Jackson Dart showed up. Not the one they was propping up out there in New York, but the one that went to Ole Miss and threw them damn interceptions, which is how he should have never got drafted in front of Shedeur Sanders, which is another reason they don't want to put Shedeur out here and bench Dylan, because Shedeur get in this game, get in any game, he gonna ball out. And then you know what people gonna say? The Saints messed up. They should have got Shedeur, but Spencer Rattler's actually doing really good. Too bad they don't really want him. They want Nussmeier's son next year, but he's still balling. And then between Shedeur, Tyler Shaw, and Jackson Dart, they don't want Shedeur to play. Not just because it's 17-32. Not because they're going to look stupid that the 5th round pick is better than the 3rd round pick and Flacco that they got off their couch. It's because Shedeur is going to look better than Dart and Tyler Shaw. Tyler Shaw was a truly wasted pick. A truly wasted pick. They don't want to say that about Dart. And Dart threw them interceptions today. Let's see if they talk about benching him. No, I bet they don't. All right, so we're going to get back to this game. Again, we got a lot. Make sure you got your snacks together. I know it's late. You make sure you get your little snacks and your hair put together because we talking tonight. So as you can see, the majority of the game was a running back game with a passing minuscule 182 as opposed to 252 yards, which is probably what it typically should be if you call yourself a quarterback. Otherwise, you just snapping the ball and handing it off and you doing a little razzle dazzle here or there. So when you look at overall, the first down, they had 17. The Browns had 17. 3rd down efficiency, they couldn't really make much. 3 of 15. 4th down efficiency, they did good. 3 of 3. Total plays, they had 67. They allowed 2 sacks. So if Dylan was sacked twice, that's kind of about right. I think Flacco had already been sacked like 9 times in the 4 games he played in. So this might have been just 1 less sack. So keep that in mind in case you do get in. This is the stat you want to pay attention to because you saw what happened in the Rams game. So always keep that in mind. They punted the ball 8 times versus 5 for Minnesota. That tell you everything you need to know. That tell you everything you need to know. Penalties, 10 of 78 versus 7 of 50. No fumbles. Good job. Interceptions. No job. Good job. Why were there no interceptions and no fumbles? Because he really wasn't really doing much. Check down, check down, check down. Hand off to the running back. This little razzle dazzle in there is a little touchdown, which they were already right there in the red zone. It's not like it was a Spencer Rattler deep pass to Chris Olave because that's what was going down in New Orleans today. So they were treated to some exciting football. Over here in London, they were just trying not to embarrass themselves. That's really what it amounts to. Like I said, Dylan is only slightly better than Flacco, which means Shedeur Sanders is still the best quarterback in Cleveland, and he's QB3. Keep that in mind. All right, so that's where we are with that. Let's see. I had some other games up here, and I know y'all want to talk about Colorado, so we're going to get into Colorado as well. But before we get into Colorado, I had this nice little picture of Jimmy. I thought it was nice. So I just want to put it out here. So Jimmy's doing his thing. I'm happy for him. I'm probably going to watch them play next week. I just don't know who they play. But I know going forward, I'm definitely going to probably watch because I'm not watching the Browns. I'm not doing that. I don't even watch the highlights. This is the most of the Browns I see. I might turn the game on for a second to see if it match up with what I thought, just so I don't misspeak, and that's about it. So I'll be watching the Panthers going forward. Depending on the game, I might go live, right? I might go live. And then Shedeur was over in London, and I think he got himself a haircut. Somebody said he was at Supercuts. I don't know if it was true or they was making fun of him or great clips or whatever it is. So Shedeur seemingly he posted on his own page, him working out with the team in London, but then him getting a haircut. And I was like, just make sure them braids are fresh, because you get a haircut, make sure them braids fresh too. You don't want to get a nice crisp edge up line up with them C cups, and then your braids a little messy, but he's that dude. So it looked like he enjoyed himself on the trip as much as he could. And I think it was a good experience for him to go, out the country and play. There were Browns fans, black Browns fans, that actually went over to London. And there was a picture, and somebody captioned it, Browns fans and Shedeur Sanders fans. I'm like, now that's just petty. All these people spent all of this money to go over there with these 12 jerseys on, and you gonna call them Shedeur Sanders fans, but they Browns jerseys. You see how they want to separate Shedeur Sanders fans from the Browns fans? Shedeurians, that's why you a Shedeurian, because they want to say you not a Browns fan. So shout out to Shedeur for sharing this nice clip with him getting his haircut. I didn't see what he looked like afterwards, but we might get a peek later on. All right, so shout out to Shedeur. We just happy he doing good over there. I know he feels good. I know deep down inside, he feels like he's winning, right? Because he's coming out on the right side of this messy, ugly situation. Because they have shunned him, but they need him, but they don't want to admit it. I can't wait to hear somebody say, "Oh, they only lost by 4 points," and ignore the stats and everything else. Watch, stay tuned. But he should technically be in the next game or two. Now, they're probably going to leave Dylan in, I say, till they get to Miami. I think they want Dylan to play against Tua. That's going to be an easy game. After that, though, if the stats are like they are, 50% with the running backs carrying the room, running back room carrying the wins, to be honest with you, they should switch to Shedeur before Miami. But we know that they cheated Shedeur not just out of a place in the NFL, number 2 overall with the elite quarterbacks. They cheated him out of $46 million. So now I have to go out here and put him in for $4 million, and people are gonna say we baited him in, switched him over, and cheated him out of money just to get him for cheap. Yes, that's gonna be a conversation. So there's a lot more happening here other than just X's and O's. But Shedeur is coming out smelling like roses. He's proven the best, the Panthers game, but they still don't want to play with him, which exposes the Browns. And they're saying it on that show that Randy Moss is on. They said something's wrong. Something's not right because he should be in there. And then Rex Ryan said, yeah, I don't know why he's not out there. I'm like, I know you didn't just say that. Yeah, I don't know why he wouldn't be out there. I mean, clearly the kids should be out there playing. I don't know what could stop. I'm like, what? You did not sit up here and use a stereotype calling this black man lazy. He got a good talking to. He got him a good talking to. Talking about he don't, I actually heard, I said, I rewinded. I said, did he just sit up here and say he don't know why Shedeur is not out there? So anyway, he ended his little walk back. He ended his little walk back with and no matter who you are, if you're a quarterback, you shouldn't be in the back of the room. No matter who you are, and the people around him just was like, let's just move on. Let's just move on from that. So clearly he had to walk back what he said about Shedeur. He had to walk back the lazy part and he should be doing this and doing that. But when he did it, he snuck something in at the end about where you should be sitting. Again, he has no proof on where Shedeur sits. Where Shedeur sits. So this person put a comment out there and he put the timestamp. So if you want to go watch the video, Randy Moss is on it. Shedeur's name is in the caption. And he says, wow. He says, Rex Ryan must have gotten some heat behind the scenes because that back pedal was faster than Coach Prime in his prime. Yeah. So remember I told y'all I hadn't seen him and I wanted to see how long it was going to be before he get back on to the desk. He's back, but he had to walk back what he said. And he's saying all these good things. He don't know why Shedeur not playing. He needs to be in the game. It's not making no sense. And then his counterparts are like, yeah, something's wrong. They actually pushing up on what the facility said. They're not saying they lied to us about Shedeur. What they're careful, they're sidestepping it. They're carefully saying something's wrong. There's something's wrong. That's to why he's not out there. Something's going on. So Rex Ryan closed by saying, I mean, maybe, it could be, something about sitting in the back. He tried to go back to it, but then they panned away from it. But if you go to it, the guy put the timestamp in here where Rex Ryan was backpedaling. So that lets you know somebody is over there standing up for Shedeur at 6 minutes and 38 seconds. And I'm willing to bet you good money it's Stephen A. I'm willing to bet you good money Stephen A put his foot down. And as he should, right? Because calling Shedeur lazy is a stereotype that against all black people. And Stephen A is black. So that's offensive to Stephen A and Randy Moss sitting up there. So shout out to ESPN or whatever network that is. So, that's what it is. I'm just kind of glad that somebody spoke up for Shedeur. And before I go one step further, you're going to hear me say this a lot. It's probably going to start scrolling across the bottom of my screen. Long live K2. Justice for Kyrie Lacey. Here's a confession. Yesterday, when we went live for the Colorado game, it took me a minute to get together because I was really hurt to find out that they targeted that kid. They targeted that kid so much so that there's a push in Louisiana to have the Attorney General investigate why the false accusation was made in the first place. Because look at the damage that was done. So it took me a minute I had a heavy heart. So I started the show off kind of slow because I was trying to get over it, right? Trying to get over it to get back into, and it happened eventually. But it took a moment. It truly did. It took a moment. A lot of people are not willing to just push past this issue, and they shouldn't. And honestly, I don't think the NFL players should either. This is more than about football. This is about picking and choosing, shunning talent, trying to control personalities. This is way deeper than football. And a lot of people could have intervened on this young man's behalf, and they chose not to. And that's the most disturbing part. Because if he was white, they would have. If they valued him, whether it was the LSU or the NFL, they would have intervened. And it wouldn't have been anything special. It would have been doing what they always do, investigate. So let's move on to Colorado. First, I want to talk about Coach Prime because Coach Prime announced, and it seemed like he was taken aback. He was caught off guard by, I think he said he had more blood clots. I heard him say he has a doctor's appointment on Monday. I thought he would go to the emergency room rather than get on an airplane because I thought they said when you get on like an airplane with blood clots, somehow it makes it worse or more painful or causes more damage. But he said something about going to the doctor on Monday, and they were in Fort Worth. So maybe he stayed behind in Dallas. I forgot that they right there in Dallas. So he said going to the doctor on Monday. So it's possible he could have stayed behind and got checked out. But, I said Colorado has a host of problems. And with this, Coach Prime's health, I don't look at it as a problem, but I look at it as something that could impact the season. And I wish, him well. We want everything for Coach Prime to go well. We don't, want him to have to endure any more surgeries, any more pain. We don't want him to have to lose any limbs or anything, So it just kind of made me feel like the team is already struggling, but then, we might have to seriously consider, the impact of his health issues. This season just might be a wash. I'm just saying it happens, right? It happens. So from the bottom of my heart, I genuinely pray that everything's okay. because we did notice when he was on the field, somebody said it in the comments, they thought he was walking slow. I thought he was walking good, but just with a limp. And I thought it was just part of what it's going to be for him, his new normal. But he had to they had a stool with his the Colorado Buff logo on it. They already had it made up for him so he could sit down. So maybe they anticipated that one day we might need to have something for Coach Prime to sit on, and they needed to use it that day. So they brought it to the sideline, and he had his shoe off, and you could see his white sock on that left. If we're looking at it, it was on his left foot, right? And I know that he has his toes amputated. I think it's only on that foot. So I guess the blood clots are relative to what's going on with his toes, and there must be some pain there. So I just want to, just be mindful, we might have to, do things differently at CU where the team is concerned and who's in leadership. Unfortunately, you never know. But we wish the best for Coach Pride. All right, let's get into the game. Let's talk about, I don't even know if I want to call it what the Buffs need to do. I think what I want to address is all of the conversation that's running around. All of the people that are saying, bench Caden, do this, do that, the defense is trash. I want to address all of these comments. Okay. First and foremost, I think a lot of us Buff fans watch football in a silo, meaning we only look at Colorado. They don't look at nobody else. They don't look at nobody else to see how other quarterbacks play, to know just how far out of line Caden is, right? With his quarterback play, if that's what you think. Then I don't think people understand that, or they forget. Maybe people forgot that Caden did not play against U of H and we were straight trash, right? So without Caden, we were still trash. I think people forget in the Delaware game, I think people forget that 3 quarterbacks played. 3. And Juju didn't look good. And afterwards, the media tried to chew him up. And we got to protect Juju from that, because I don't think he should have ever been in that situation. Now, saying that, I watched Texas versus Florida. Kamani McClain balled out. He did get scored on, but his tackles were really good. I think he's going to go far over there. I think he's a starter over there. Shout out to Kamani McClain, but I'm here to talk about Arch Manning and UT in the quarterback play, including DJ Lagaway. Both of those teams, I think they both had interceptions. I'm sure people weren't happy about it, right? I'm sure they weren't happy about it, but understand it's a part of the game. Now, on Nightcap, they have 2 different headlines that address what I'm getting ready to talk about. One headline said, it's time for Coach Prime to get a new quarterback. Why, right? But then when it came to the other headline, is it time for UT to get a new quarterback? So you asking, when it comes to Arch Manning, who didn't play well? In fact, Sarkisian took him out the game for like two or 3 plays, but he put him right back in. And I think we should do the same thing. You got to give your quarterback time to get himself together. When he'd have been sacked and fumbling the ball and interceptions all together, you got to pull him out for a second, and we didn't make that adjustment, which is a problem. Colorado seemingly always has problem making adjustments. But then we want to take Caden out when he's doing well, but when he's doing bad, we want to let him drown. What the hell is going on here? And Nightcap asked, should they have a new quarterback at UT? But Coach Prime got to go get him somebody else. They both play bad. They both have issues. So does DJ Lagaway, so does Thomas Castellanos. So what am I saying? You don't hear nobody else trying to bench their quarterback but Colorado. That's because the fan base is loud. And that can be a gift and a curse. You don't think Coach Prime know that Caden is the best quarterback that they have? Of course he does. Which is why Caden started the season. He told you that. And yes, he was pressured in to moving away from Caden. And then at U of H, Staub got in. And that was a disaster. And we're not going back to that. And then Caden gets back in. Against Wyoming, we good. But all in all, nobody's paying attention to, on one game, we had 3 quarterbacks play. One was propped up to look good, and you didn't realize play calling is what did it. You don't even realize. I don't even think a lot of fans even understand how bad the play calling is. When I say bad, I mean predictable. Colorado's play calling is so goddamn predictable. It's like we got 10 plays and we just spinning them around the board and we throw a dart at one. And then we're using a higher degree of difficulty plays, making it more difficult to score for our own team. And y'all know I'm talking about when we were in the end zone. It was easier to run it in, something you were successful with. But now you want to throw it to the same person you've been throwing it to all night. Of course it didn't work the second time because you had just tried it, so they knew what you was going to do, so they got double coverage. That is play calling, people. Play calling. I have pointed out Kaden Salter does not have on a sleeve. That should be of a grave concern to a lot of you because Shedeur had a sleeve. Why doesn't Kaden have a sleeve? Because it seems like Pat Schumer wants to have supreme control and Coach Prime is allowing it. And why is that? Maybe because his management style is, well, I can't fire him because I think he tipped his hand when he brought in Byron Leftwich, and I think Schumer up there getting revenge. Schumer up there is gift wrapping the game for every damn team that has something to gain besides the win. Pay attention. I said this was going to happen. We're going to beat West Virginia. That's who we're going to beat. You ain't going to beat nobody else. You might go 4-8. Don't be surprised. Because it's orchestrated. And people don't want to accept the fact that it's orchestrated. They don't want to accept the fact that, yes, Kaden is making a mistake. Just like Arch Manning, just like DJ Lagaway, just like Thomas Castellanos. And none of them are being benched because they're the best quarterback on the roster. And even when Sarkisian rotated to Arch Manning, it was to let him catch his breath, not break his confidence. Someone put him back in the game, and he did. The result was the same, but the point is, this is what we got to roll with. Coach Prime was already pressured into going to stop. It didn't work. With Pat Schumer calling the plays, because he called the same type of game because U of H had something to gain, like Georgia Tech, TCU, and BYU. What did TCU have to gain? The same thing Georgia Tech did when we played them first. They quarterback is a knight in shining armor headed to the damn NFL, so we don't let him get it. They didn't even run the ball. They trying to give all the quarterbacks the shine because they want these guys to come out in the first round. Carson Beck is really out there balling. I don't hear nothing about him because like Quinn Ewers, he ain't their preference. But Hoover is. Did they even break 100 yards on the ground? Y'all looking at a football game. These people ain't playing football. This is so much bigger than X's and O's. Haynes King and Hoover are headed to the NFL. So they got put in a better light. They don't want Kaden to be in that light. Kaden is not trash. Yes, he makes mistakes. They all do. Shedeur had 10 interceptions. How many interceptions does Kaden have right now? He got the bulk of them in this game. What, he got 4? 5? He got 5 more to go then before y'all start complaining, bench Kaden, because you didn't complain when Shedeur had 10 interceptions. You see how the disparity is? I think y'all just don't like Kaden. I don't know what he did to you. People thought Coach Prime didn't like Kaden, and people's like, we don't know what he did. I don't think he did nothing. I think he ain't Shedeur. I think you thought Star Wars, and you found out that ain't true, so you think Juju is. You cannot put Juju in this situation where Colorado has multiple issues. Colorado has problems from the top to the bottom, the left to the right, the front to the back, in a 360 circle. The defense gave up 35 points. That ain't okay. The play calling is basic. So what's happening with basic play calling is Texas Tech is like, oh, this is what they're going to do. Guess whose play calling was not basic? Texas Tech. It was designed to make their quarterback look good. Ours is not. And it wasn't designed for Shedeur to make him look good because he had to do it himself, but he's a Sanders. His daddy is the head coach. That is not the case for Kaden. I'm not saying Kaden should remain the quarterback, but I don't think you should change him if you know he's the best one you got. And if you don't think Kaden is good, you do know who brought Kaden in here, right? Coach Prime. So you questioning Coach Prime judgment again. The most that should happen is, and first of all, stop calling that goddamn play when he runs to the right to try to get the ball to Omarion. I mean, everybody know that's coming. Stop doing that. That is play calling. Stop doing that. You should be upset that Sincere Brown didn't even get no targets to the second half. That's what you should be upset about. You should be upset that Caden don't have no plays that let him throw across the middle. That's what you should be upset about. You should be upset about that we only had, what, one deep ball? You know how you know Caden is not a bad quarterback? Because there are some drives that are so uncomplicated that they smooth like butter. You want Coach Prime to bench Caden and go to Juju, who you don't even know if under Pat Schumer it's going to work out, but you should. Because did it work out when Juju was out there with Pat Schumer calling the plays for the Delaware game? No, it did not. Coach Prime, no, he can't put Juju in here like that. But what he can do is, because I ain't gonna say the season is a wash, but we ain't going to the Big 12, right? We ain't going to the 12-team playoff. We maybe might get a bowl game. What I do think he should do is what Steve Sarkisian did. When things start going south, two interceptions, not 3, 2, make adjustments. Let him come out the game, get it together, talk to him on the side, tell him what to do. That's what you do. There was a question on ESPN at the time when Cam Newton was on there the first time. Stephen A., the title of the show was, "Can Coach Prime coach another quarterback?" The answer is yes. But when it comes to Caden, it's not made right. All the love went to Staub. Juju gets protected. But you don't make no adjustments. When Caden throw 2 interceptions, take him out the game. Put Juju in there. Hell, put Ponder in there. And you got Colton Allen over there. You got 5 quarterbacks. There's no excuse not to make adjustments, just like there's no excuse to be racking up and taking home timeouts. Now, one thing about when a person has health issues, we don't like to talk about it because, they're not in a good way. But if it's going to be like this, then he's going to have to step out the way. And that's what y'all got to be ready for. Because these kids still got to go out here and play football. Colorado still got to keep rocking and rolling. So we respectful, but we got to be honest at the same time. If you don't like Caden and thought he was a cool quarterback, Coach Prime brought Caden to Colorado. If you think it's bad he do 3 interceptions, I do too. I also think it's bad that Colorado has 9 or 8 pass interference calls and nobody makes adjustments to take Preston Hodge out the game. You see? No adjustments for the quarterback. He goes on to 3 interceptions. But had you taken him out at 2, maybe it wouldn't have happened. There's no adjustments on the defensive side when Preston Hodge keep putting us in a situation where he get pass interference and other people score from it to the point people want Preston Hodge investigated for cheating. When all the coach had to do was pull Preston Hodge out the game. This is the most pass interference we've ever had because they don't make adjustments. That's one of the issues with Colorado. No adjustments. Because we didn't make adjustments with Shedeur. We didn't make adjustments with the secondary with Shiloh. We did not. We don't make adjustments. That's a major problem. So why put Juju out there and he throw 1 interception? Then this ain't practice. This is not practice, and the media is going to chew him up. No. Caden is the quarterback. And it's not going to look good to keep trying to pressure Coach Prime to go back and forth with quarterbacks because they thought it was ridiculous and it made him look like he was incompetent in one game to have 3 quarterbacks and only Caden and Juju suffer for it. There are people in the comments saying Coach Prime don't want to play style because he's white. Come on now. Coach Prime was only out there hugging on style. But that's the pressure. And that's what they say to try to get their preference into the game. I don't even think Caden is Coach Prime's preference. I ain't trying to hurt nobody's feelings. I think he knows Caden is the best quarterback we have to win. It's the coach's fault, guys, for not making adjustments. Who's the quarterback coach? Do we have one? Is it the same as the offensive coordinator? Who the hell is the quarterback coach? Do they have one? Why doesn't Caden have a sleeve? Why are the plays so Mickey Mouse? Why are we throwing to one target primarily to the point that the other team catch on? That's why. because the other team can catch on. Why do we keep throwing to the right with Caden with this ball that don't never connect? That's why, because it don't work. When the stuff starts working and we get up 14-0, whatever it is, the play calling just dismantles it. It tears it all down. Before it was check downs. Now it's this play to the right that don't never work with Omarion. Why is it always Omarion? Let somebody else go over there and catch it. And why Caden can't run to the left? You're doing the same thing over and over and over, and he don't have a damn sleeve so he can call his own plays. That's control, ladies and gentlemen. You don't see Coach Prime in his headset talking to Caden. They say that's what the headset is for. That means Pat Schumer up in the booth doing his thing, controlling what Caden does, letting the other team get a pass. And Coach Prime got his headset up. Coach Prime was an offensive coordinator. He can call them plays. Brett Bertolone is right there. He can call them plays. Coach Prime's management style is to let it bleed out. We need to accept that fact. He went to get what's his name? Leftwich, and it got chaotic, so Leftwich left. So now it's just going to bleed out because this is Pat Schumer's last year. But people are asking, is it also Coach Prime? It could be. His management style is to let it bleed out. He must have thought he was going to bring Leftwich in as the quarterback coach, but somehow it got politics, so I don't know. So now what are he going to do? He clearly can't make the switch now, but Pat Schumer is on to him, so he has no problem with letting these other teams get what they need while we suffer, because maybe it's better for Coach Prime to be at the bottom. Maybe that makes Coach Prime look incompetent and he'll get in trouble, and Pat Schumer might still have a job next year or walk away knowing he got revenge on the person that tried to fire him. This is way more than about X's and O's. And y'all have to understand that. If you don't like Caden, Coach Prime brought him in, so talk about that. Don't just drag Caden. And one of the people Coach Prime keep defending is the damn play calling. And I'm sorry, it's too predictable. That's why we keep going up with the game. We can win it. And then things just suddenly break down. We stop giving the ball to Draylon. We start throwing to Omarion over and over and over and over and over again to the point where TCU knows what we're going to do because that's what we're telling them to do. That's why they stopped that touchdown, because we did the exact same play 2 times in a row. So this is Texas versus Florida. And I was like, let me look at this game. I think I watched the highlights on this game twice. Now, mind you, Arch Manning, I can tell his granddaddy owns a passing academy because he can pass the ball sometimes, but he throws interceptions, right? Being a passer is just one element of being a quarterback. You got to do the rest of the stuff too. And he don't mind taking off and running. And they still trying to prop him up, talking about that's combine work right there. So he got the media on his side. But I don't hear nobody trying to bench him after that game. One, because they know they can't. So, over here, Texas scored in the second quarter. Florida was up by 10. Florida was intense on defense. Florida is hyped when they play. Offense is a little calmer, but defense, they bring it. And Carmani is a part of that. Y'all know the energy Carmani brings, and the defense matches that. It matches that. The reason we let Carmani go because Coach Prime was trying to win now. We didn't have time to babysit that situation. So he over there doing good. It is what it is. So 457 yards in total for Florida, 341 for Texas, right? Let's get to the part that you really care about. All right, so Arch Manning was 16 of 29. That is not good. That's half, basically. 15 of 30 is half. So that's half. Just about 263 yards, 29 opportunities to throw the ball, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Then they took out and put Caldwell in right here. Caldwell played 1 or 2 snaps, like I said. Then they put Arch in. So basically, Sarkisian took Arch out after these 2 interceptions, and he kept getting sacked to let him, get himself together. Then he put Caldwell in, and then he took him out. That's what Colorado should have done in that game with Caden. It's almost like They just want Caden to look bad so they can have some excuse. This is last year, so I don't know. That means you want to gamble the season away and let it bleed out rather than find something that works. It's either let him stay there and look bad, or put Staub in and he look bad, but why is it never just take him out and put somebody else in for a minute after the 2 interceptions? Why would you let your quarterback stay in the game to go 3? You really can't say, like Nightcap is, it's time for Coach Prime to get a new quarterback. No, it's time for some adjustments. Just like y'all fussing about the timeouts, it's time for some damn adjustments. Just like it's time for adjustments on defense, it's to stop letting Preston Hodge make all these damn pass interferences, which the team sets up for a damn touchdown. The same on offense is the same on defense. You have to make adjustments. Caden was actually asked about that in his last press conference. He said, well, we didn't make the proper adjustments. They don't. He's not lying. Whether they take him out for a snap or 2, they don't do that. That's what's missing. Adjustments. You just let it bleed out. Same thing with Preston Hodge. So on rushing, Arch Manning rushed the ball. He even had 15 carries for 37 yards, 2.5 on average, right? So when we get down here and you start looking at the team stats, right? When it comes to passing, Florida passed more, right? But still 341 yards, 289 in the air. It's still pretty damn good. So this was a quarterback's game, as you can see. But they still had more rushing yards in Florida than they had at UT because they give Arch Manning all the shine. Lagaway kind of had to share a little bit with his running back. Then you have 7 yards on average for Florida and 5.9 for Texas. So Florida just really played a more intense, a better game. Sacks allowed. Florida didn't allow any sacks on Lagaway. 6 sacks were allowed on Arch Manning. 6. That's a lot. That's a lot. Fumbles. They didn't fumble the ball. I remember Florida did 2 interceptions and 1 interception. This young man was sacked 6 times, had 2 interceptions. Nobody, they asking, should they get a new quarterback? They asking. But Caden, Coach Prime got to get a new quarterback. Why? They're doing the same thing. The difference is Sarkisian took Arch Manning out and put Caldwell in. So Manning could regroup, which is what you're supposed to do. We don't do that. We don't do that. DJ Lagaway, 1 interception, 2 touchdowns, 21-28. He played a good game, but he still threw an interception, right? They still won. Nobody's calling him to be benched. They're going to throw interceptions. Arch Manning did not have a good game. Nobody's calling for him to be benched. The point is they asking politely, do they need to move on? But, oh, no, we got to move on. As if Caden has been the problem. That's the reason that we're not winning. No, Caden is the reason we have 14 points. The defense gave up 35. When Caden was doing good, he still got benched. It's more than going on with X's and O's at Colorado. And one is a power struggle. Understand that. Whether you want to believe it or not, that's what it is. And I don't know if Coach Prime is going to be around next year. The way Pat Schumer is throwing these games, I'm not sure he's working alone. I'm sorry. He's allowed to do this. How many games are we going to have to play before we realize that that's what he's doing? It was obvious with Georgia Tech. Now it's obvious that the teams that we cannot beat, even though we get them on the ropes, have something to gain at our expense. That's what's happening here. Hoover is a top first-round draft pick, just like Charles King, Haynes King. Same thing. U of H was going undefeated. BYU was ranked, and they moved up 2 spots from 25 to 23 after they beat us, which is crazy, but okay. So I just think that as Buff fans, we got to learn and understand holistically football here, right? Coach Prime knows who Caden is. He brought Caden in. He know he the best one that we have. He also know Pat Schumer play calling ain't that good, which is why he brought in Byron Leftwich and elevated Brett Bertolone to offensive pass coordinator. But as you can see, Pat Schumer still got that headset. That's the problem. It tells you that Coach Prime is either reluctant to move Pat out, he tried it and it didn't work. Something. And Pat Schumer has the carte blanche to just tear it all down. Because that's exactly what's happening. So this is Colorado's numbers. By the second half, neither one of us scored in the first quarter. By the second half, it seems that we were both up 14. Team stats: 369 yards for them, 343 for us, 217 through the air, 275 for them. We had 3 interceptions and still had 217 yards passing, 126 rushing, and they only had 94. Why? Because Hoover is headed to the NFL. 126 rushing for us. Because our quarterback is also headed to the NFL and was benched when he was doing good in favor of somebody that the game was trash at U of H. So if we got 126-yard rushing, the best rushing game we probably have ever had, why when we got down there to the red zone, why is it? Tell me why we didn't rush that ball in for a touchdown, because it would have worked. The degree of difficulty was increased to pass the ball. We went with the harder option, the more difficult option. Why? To get Omari on the ball or to make sure the touchdown don't happen? The point is, you should have ran the damn ball in. That's coaching. They had 5 yards per play. We had about 5. It was about evenly matched. Evenly matched. We ran the ball more. Cater still did good passing the ball, even with 3 turnovers. He wasn't that far off for the 275, but without him, he damn sure would have been about the same as Hoover, and we probably would have won. But I don't think that was the goal. I don't. You can see right here, Hoover's only on running back only got 94 yards. Same thing happened when Charles King was playing. They limited Jamal King. They running back so Haynes King could get the shine, but our quarterback got to get made to look like he trash. And I ain't say nobody was perfect, and I didn't say he didn't make a mistake. I'm saying when you keep calling the same plays over and over and over and it don't work, what's your intent here? You know this shit ain't gonna work, so why you keep doing it? Because it don't work. The same thing gonna happen if you put somebody else in. That's not Pat Schumer's preference. We already went through that with Delaware. Penalties. We had 7 of 85. They had 6 of 43. Fumbles lost. We had no fumbles. They had 1 interceptions. We had 1 fumble and 3 interceptions. They had no fumbles, no interceptions. They had 85 yards. So they even had more penalties than us. And we still lost the game. We had the ball longer and we still lost the game. We punted the ball about the same, which tells me this team is about evenly matched. We allowed 2 sacks. They allowed 2 sacks. We both played about the same number of plays. 66, 65 respectively. First down efficiency, fourth down was 1 of 1. They're 2 of 3. Third down, we're 9 of 14. And this team was evenly matched. This team was evenly matched. You know why we didn't get 3 more first downs? Because we had 3 interceptions. That's why. We don't make adjustments. Here's the thing, right? If Caden is bad, like people say, why didn't the coaches make adjustments to put in somebody else? Just like Sarkisian did. You see? What's the intent here? Is the intent to make your quarterback look bad? Because TCU's intent is to make Hoover look bad. Georgia Tech's intent was to make King look good. To make King look good and Hoover look good. What's the intent for Colorado? Maybe the intent is to go 4-8. Why would that be the case? Because then it would start the end of Coach Prime's career at Colorado. Y'all not understanding. We ain't just looking at football. There's an intent here. We're only losing to the games that the teams we could beat. U of H is the only game you can't even say we could ever beat them. Because we had switched quarterbacks and that went terribly, terribly bad. And that was Pat Schumer's preference. And it still went bad. So what is the intent? I don't think it's to win these certain games. It's definitely not. I don't think they care about the bowl. Definitely not Big 12. Definitely not the playoffs. I think it's to stay at the bottom of the Big 12. Because if you was gonna fire me and somehow I get to stay in place, I'm gonna get you fired. Tell me that don't work like that. Whether you want to believe it or not. So let me get in here and see what y'all are saying. Got to look at what is the intent with the play calling. Hey, Nikki Soulfit, how you doing? Hey, Mac. Hey, Marlon. There are 122 of us. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hey, Pamela, Destiny, Peter, how you doing? The gang is out here. Tina, hey, everyone, how you doing? Make sure you hit the like button. How you doing, Delmar? Game manager. There you go. I think the Ravens lost. Oh, okay. That's right. Because I think Lamar Jackson is out, right? Okay. All right. I'm definitely I want to well, I don't know if definitely. I want to definitely try to watch Jacksonville tomorrow. Hey Queen, how you doing? Enjoy your knowledge. Thank you, thank you, thank you. B said the Ravens got blew out today by the Texans. God darn. Jimmy Horn said, ready right now. Yes, he did. He did. He did. Rex was up there explaining. Show was. Show was, Charlie. Somebody, I just don't know why this kid ain't playing. I'm like, oh, you don't know why he ain't playing, but he was lazy last week. All right. So it was nice for somebody to pull his coattails. I told you, I think that's Stephen A. I don't think Stephen A. on the episode I told you about when Stephen A. asked if Coach Prime could coach another quarterback, uh, sitting across the desk from him was Cam. And Cam didn't answer the question. Cam started talking about Shedeur this and Shedeur that. Stephen A. looked at him, put his head down, and said, I talked about it. So I think Stephen A. pulled Rex Ryan coattails. See, they let Stephen A. hire all them people. Everybody he want to hire. Now I don't know if Rex Ryan came in as a favor to one of them executives that we don't see who clearly want to stay in the background. And they want Stephen A. to get out there, but they have given him carte blanche to hire whoever he wants, including Cam twice. Including Cam twice. So let's see if Rex know how to behave, or if he's one of those people that can't control himself and he just got to let it come out. With most racists, that's how it works. They can't hide it. They just can't hide it. It just got to come seeping out through their pores. So let's see what happens. But yeah, he was over there explaining today. So I thought that was crazy, right? I was like, I couldn't believe I heard my ears. I just didn't think he was gonna be back, because maybe that's what I thought. Maybe that's what I wanted to happen. Maybe I didn't think he would be back because I didn't want him there. But they let him come back. But they gave him a good talking to, and he still tried to slide something in though. It don't matter if you the quarterback. Something about the back. Shut up. Just shut the hell up. So yeah, Charlie, I'm glad you saw that. I'm so glad you saw that. That was not just me. That was not just me. It said he only has 190 yards, which is bad. He not even playing a good team. Yeah, you talking about Dylan? It said bike. Oh, you talking about Dylan? Okay, it said Vikings are only good when they have Jefferson. So did Jefferson play? He played, right? Did he play the game? I didn't watch the game. Dink Dunk Dylan is saying, let's call it how it is. Dylan Gable is horrible, right? That's why I said he's only slightly a hair better than Flacco. Honestly, and Flacco is 40. That's not a compliment at all. You only slightly better than a 40-year-old man, which meant his draft projection of an undrafted free agent was spot on. You see, he was a favor to a friend. Now they got Dante Moore over there singing his praises. Wait till he gets to be NFL eligible and watch what happens. The same thing with Lenore Stellers. I ain't heard his name in weeks. I ain't heard his name in weeks. It said guy was throwing 5-yard passes. Yup. It said the Browns play my Steelers next Sunday. I can't wait until they expose Dylan. Ooh, they play the Steelers? Aaron Rodgers who blocked Shedeur, or the Steelers blocked Shedeur? Ooh, that might be good. I'm gonna have to watch that. I'm gonna have to see when it come on. I can't stand to watch that nobody play like Dylan play. I had to go watch some good football after the Colorado game to cleanse my mind. That's why I was so excited about the Panthers in Miami. That was some good football. That was some good football. I'm telling y'all. And that Texas game, I hate that Arch Manning had a bad game, but it proves he's not him. They just want him to be him so they can capitalize off of his last name in Cleveland. So while they over there shunning Shedeur, they could win with him. But see, it shows you that these teams don't always want to win. We know they tank to get draft position, but now you're learning that they tank to stay away from a player they don't want to draft, right? Like Shedeur. They don't want to win with Shedeur. They didn't want to draft. They claim they want to draft Shedeur. They could win with him this year, but I want somebody next year. So I just want you, I'll just waste this whole year. That's between them and their fans. The Saints could be doing the same thing. And I don't know what the hell people thought was going to happen today, but y'all got to go watch that Jets Saints game. Spencer Rattler is a dog. It's the dog. It's a shame. It's a shame how they do him. See, they don't want to keep him. They don't even want to win with him. I think they thought Jackson Dart was going to come to town and ball out. The Jackson Dart showed up. Yeah. He definitely showed up. When he was throwing all those interceptions, I was like, just like college, which meant his draft profile was correct. His draft profile was spot on, and I knew it was, right, because he had just played, so it was based on the stats. But see, they want to move away from that. Now let's see what they start talking about, because they bench Russ because he threw an interception. Dart threw 2 interceptions in that game. They ain't gonna go back to Russ. You see, Russ got to get the hell out of the way because I just want to play Dart. Be careful what you ask for when you say Caden ain't good, because Coach Prime brought Caden in. And I think he knew what he's doing. I've never questioned, is Coach Prime a good coach? It's some other things happening here. And I think it's I'm going to get you before you get me. I think Coach Prime tried it, and somebody must have vetoed it, or Leftwich just left, because he got Brett Bertelon right there. He could elevate him. But I'm starting to think he can't. Maybe Pat Schumer got the upper hand that we didn't know existed, which explains maybe he got there not at Coach Prime's choosing, but somebody wanted Coach Prime to think that it was his idea, but I don't think so. So be careful what you ask for, because Coach Prime brought in Caden, and he does believe he's the best quarterback. And after the U of H game, you should see that he was. And understand there's some other things happening here now. It said Nussmeier and Arch Manning are both horrible. Right. But see, I'm glad you said that. Who said that? See, here's the thing, right? They are both horrible. And before the season started, Nussmeier was going to the Saints, and whether you knew it or not, Arch Manning was going to Cleveland. Because if Arch Manning was ever going to the Giants, Dart would have never went there. Dart could have went to Cleveland. They wanted Dart in New York because they didn't know if Arch was coming out this year or next year. And they're not trying to move Dart out the way. They're trying to corner the market, so to speak, and put Arch Manning in Cleveland because they getting that new stadium and that outdoor shopping area they bringing a star to Cleveland. That's basically what they're doing. And they want the Manning kid to be on all the posters. They don't want Shedeur up there. This is about control. And it's not that I just want to control the players. I want to control who's the star of the team. So if Spencer Rattler balls out like he did today, I don't want him to be the star of the team knowing Nussmeier's son coming out. But see, now Nussmeier's son is not balling. Arch Manning is not balling. So what I got to do? Hoover, Haynes, King. You see? That's 2 right there. That's just 2. Carson Beck is over there balling. They don't talk about him. You got to be in their little club. Maybe you want to start looking at the last names to see what they are. Hint, hint. All right, so Dollar General, Miniman, Dylan Dink Dink can't win now. It said, does Dylan Gabriel represent the Lollipop Kids? So what? It said, I didn't watch Dollar General or the Browns. I didn't either, Amber. I did not. I don't. It said the Flores defense played soft against Dylan. And we said we was looking for that, right? We said we were looking for that. I checked to see. I think their highest person had five or six, seven. Let me see how many tackles he had. Let's see. He didn't have. Let me see. Team stats. Uh, Vikings defense. Eric Wilson 5 of 4. Byron Murphy 4 of 1. So yeah, 5 solo tackles was the highest for them. Yeah, that's why they called it a Brian Flores defense. I was like, okay. I mean, I feel like any team that they play, they're gonna take it easy on it because the NFL got Shedeur over there, and they don't want him to get to the front. But the Saints and the Giants went decidedly different, right? And see, they already went into it trying to act like Dart was just gonna stroll into town off of his horse and put a smack down on the Saints. Baby, please let me share my screen because that is not what happened. I said Spencer Rattler's good. I'm like, and the Saints fans, man, they happy. They just happy. And here's the thing: imagine Spencer take them somewhere, right? Or they do well, uh, and then they bring Nussmeier's son and get rid of Spencer, and Nussmeier's son don't ball out. That's what Cleveland is setting themselves up for. A bird in the hand is always better than two in the bush, and they don't care. They just want to get who they want to get. Their preference. And Spencer Rattler, I'm telling y'all, dude is good. I was like, I see why God didn't let Shedeur come to New Orleans because Spencer over here and they did him dirty first. So he got to fix that and it's fixed. It's fixed. I want to see what all the talk gonna be about Jackson Dart this week because before it's like we got to bench Russ. His time is over. Take a look at this right here. Take a look at these numbers. I was like, oh, I didn't expect this, but this good. I was like, I'm glad it happened because Russ, just like Shedeur, they should have texted each other and they should have just put LOL. That's what they both should have texted each other LOL because they both been shunned for their preference or to block them out the way, basically. That's really what it is. Here it is, the Giants and the Saints right here. All right, so make sure you can see my screen. Gotta take this comment off. All right, so here we go right here. Okay, I'm over here to the left, just in case. Just in case. All right. I always like to start at the top. Okay, so 26-14. The Giants scored in the first quarter. The Saints was held to a field goal. And I questioned that. I questioned what happened on that play to hold them back. Because again, they got a vested interest in Dart winning. But I don't know what happened here. Because I felt like they held the Saints back on this field goal. But let's keep going. Then you got 7 for the Giants, and the Saints scored 13. Then after half, the Saints scored again. As you can see right here, they have them on the ropes in the third and the fourth quarter. The Giants didn't score at all. It's like they in the second quarter, they unleashed something. It's like, I think Dart thought he was going to win this game because they was like, he going to go into New Orleans and they overlooked him, shame on them and all of that, this, that, and the other. Yeah, he got a total beat down. All right, so these are the stats right here. The Giants. Let's start there. 26 of 40. 26 of 40. 202 yards, 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, right? On rushing, he had some touches. 7 of 55, 7.9 on average, which is not bad. Dart throws up the middle a lot. That's got to be his favorite move. All quarterbacks got a favorite move. I think Caden might be running to the right with that sidearm. We got to talk about that later, another time. Darts is throwing up the middle. He's successful with it. He can get rid of the ball fast, and he don't have to deal with the pressure. His weakness was the pressure coming out of college, not being sacked, not being comfortable with the pressure. And today, the Saints applied the pressure, and I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I would have thought they would have manipulated this game so Dart could leave there smelling like roses. So right here, let's look at Spencer Rattler stats. 20 of 30, 225 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Then they put in Taysom Hill. He was a 1-on-1. Now, I don't know if y'all remember when Lamar Jackson was drafted. They said he was a poor man's Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill ain't nowhere near Lamar Jackson talent. But that's how they were trying to discount Lamar Jackson by saying he was a poor man's Taysom Hill. You see, he's still around. I'm like, boy, the way they be trying to get rid of these black quarterbacks is crazy to me. So over here, we got 335 total for the Giants, 332 for the Saints total, 199 passing. That ain't too shabby. 244 for Spencer. Spencer was slaying that rock, bro. I'm telling you, I'm like, Spencer's a dog. I like him. 136 for on the ground for the Giants. See, they using Scatterboo a lot, right? Same thing you seeing with Dylan. The running back is used as a crutch for a quarterback that we propping up. That's really what's happening. And then you have only 88 yards for the Saints. So they don't need to prop up Spencer Rattler. If he got 244 yards and no interceptions, he a dog. He's a dog. Dart had 199, and I think how many interceptions? One or two? Two, I think. Yards per play, 4.8 versus 5.4. Saints got the better game, got the better QB, right? So all of that propping up in the preseason and in the first few games to try to move Russ out the way, and it landed right here in New Orleans. Jackson Dart, the original, popped right on out. So you got first downs. They had 23 for the Giants, only 18 for the Saints. Third down efficiency, 3 of 10 versus the Saints, 7 of 15. Fourth down efficiency, they were 3 of 5. The Saints was 1 of 1. Total plays, they had 70. The Saints had 61. That's a lot of plays. Sacks allowed, he was sacked once. Rattler wasn't sacked at all. And then 2 punts to 2. That's good there. Penalties, they were 95 yards with 8 penalties. And the Saints was good, 7 of 43. That's not bad. Fumbles, 3 fumbles lost. Do you hear anybody asking Jackson Dart and anybody else to be bitch? No. Interceptions, 2. How many turnovers is that? 5. Time of possession, they had the ball for 31 minutes in New York for the Giants, and they played this game in New Orleans. And then 28 minutes for the Saints, and the Saints still won. I'm telling you, this was a game. If you get a chance to watch the highlights, they probably going to cut out a lot of the stuff that we talking about. New Orleans did that. Spencer Rattler did that. And he didn't have to rely on his run game to win. And the Giants did, and they still lost. You see? This Jackson Dart right here. They propping him up, and they using Scatterboo to do it. And they did this knowing they were pushing Russ out the way because they'd rather play football like this. This is the same thing happening in Cleveland. So shout out to the Saints for pulling out the win. I really think I was shocked because I just kind of knew that they was just going to let, Jackson Dart skate, right? So, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. So, as you can see, if you think the quarterback is not good, you supplement that with the run game. That's what you see with Dylan. That's what you see with Dart. You ain't going to see that with Shedeur. That's why Colorado didn't have no run game. People thought that was a problem. No, it's not. You don't have to have a run game if you got a damn good quarterback. That's how you know Spencer Rattler is good. He did most of the carrying, right? And he had no interceptions and no fumbles. That's a good quarterback. That means he's consistent. That's somebody that they don't want to win with. Shedeur will be the same way over in Cleveland. They don't want to win with them. So shame on him. Anyway, let's get back to the comments. It said they messed his lineup, but he looked like he was having fun. Oh, they messed up his lineup. These are my Shedeur. Oh, okay. So they talk. If you're just not joining us, they're talking about Shedeur because I had a photo where he was in London getting his hair. I don't know why he decided to get an edge up over there, but maybe it was just fun for content. I don't know. Dollar General looked like he wanted to cry at the end of the game. I don't know why. He know who he is. He is slightly better than Flacco. This is gonna be an interesting season. I already know they don't want to win with Shedeur. I already know they don't want to win with Spencer Rattler. But see, I'm gonna tell you something. After this win right here, the Saints know they're gonna have to listen to their fans. See, fan bases are different. The Browns just seem to lay down and take whatever they dish out over there. Not in New Orleans. They will stand on your head about them Saints. I heard the barber messed up Shedeur's head. He probably did. I don't know why he went there. Hey, Regina, welcome back, welcome back. Shedeur said they messed up his cut. Oh, Lord. I hope they get it together some kind of way. It said the next game is Pittsburgh. Ooh, that's going to be interesting. So that means Dylan got to be the quarterback against Aaron Rodgers. Let's see if he plays. That just means Sean Jenkins going to have another 100. He probably going to have 150 yards. That's interesting. Interesting. He couldn't find a black barber. I guess not. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, was his hair not cut before he went over there? I don't know. I just thought it was for good content, to be honest. Alex Smith called it out. Who is Alex Smith? It said his hair grows fast though. Yeah, his hair does grow pretty fast. It does grow pretty fast. Somebody he need to find a good barber. That was London, wasn't it? Wasn't that London? Rex Ryan needs to find some toes to be quiet, right? right. Look at all of those teams that could use Shedeur as a starting quarterback, and bro, they rather lose. They rather lose. That's just what it is. That's why the guys that's on the show, whatever show that is, Randy Moss is on. I don't know what it is. That's why the guy sitting next to Randy Moss on the right said, okay, something's clearly wrong here. Something's not right. That is no different than the facility saying they lied to us about Shedeur. But see, ESPN, no. With 10% ownership of ESPN by the NFL, they still got to skirt the line a little bit. You can call things out. You can, and I believe they have meetings about this before they go live. All right, so we want to talk about why Shedeur is not playing. You can't use words like they lied to us. You have to phrase it as a question, or you have to phrase it as something pensive like, well, something's wrong. But you know what it is, but you can't say it directly. You have to be indirect with it. And that's what they're doing, whatever that show is that Randy Moss is on. I'm just glad they bring it up. I'm just glad they pulled Rex Ryan coattails and told him, you can't come over here with that. But you see he back over there. So, carte blanche, but maybe he represents something. Maybe he represents something. It said the proof was shown that Shedeur Sanders sits front row. Yeah, I don't even know why he tried to skirt in, even at the end of his conversation where he had walked it all back. And he said something like, if you the quarterback on any team, you can't be in the back, something like that. He said, it don't matter who your dad is. I'm like, there you go. You still trying it. That's why I say, let's see how long it takes before he do this again. Because he can't help himself. You just walked all of this back and said, you don't know why he not out there playing because he good. But now, at the end of the show, you got to get in the last word. You got to have a last word and try to make yourself seem justified for calling him lazy, which is a racial stereotype. That's why he should be fired. So we'll see what happens because he can't help himself. He gonna do it again. Do you think that he backpedaled because of Miss Pilar's statement? No. I think he backpedaled because there was a lot of backlash. See, social media, people want to ignore social media, but you can't. See, that's the thing. You got all of these people coming at Rex. And honestly, these people work up there like Stephen A. They probably didn't like what he said. So they use that opportunity for social media to call him out, to say, look, we have a reputation. We can't talk like that. And they pulled him aside. Believe me, they pulled him aside. But he gonna do it again because he can't help himself. So no, I don't think it had anything to do with what she said. Now, I will tell you her statement that she made about when the Giants said Shedeur Sanders had the worst interview, this, that, and the other. And she said, put out the tapes. They walked back their statement. They backed away from the claim about Shedeur having bad interviews. And I think it was because of her statement. That statement, yes, absolutely. Well, all she said in this statement was that, people, that she said young people, she's trying to teach young people, young players. This is what impotent, envious, something else looks like. When she started with impotent, I was like, okay, and they say she took it down, but I already had screenshot it. So I have it, and I applaud her for standing up for her son. And now you see ESPN is doing it. See, they pick on the vulnerable. They pick on the weak. They pick on the poor. They pick on the isolated, the people that don't have nobody. If they see you and catch you by yourself, you in trouble. That's why these things happen to people like James Byrd when he was by himself. They think they got Coach Prime over a barrel. They don't care that he was fighting cancer. They don't. Because they still at it. They only thinking in terms of, your daddy ain't going to do nothing. He got a mama too. And she did have something to say, and I applaud her. And yes, I screenshot it. But they say she took it down. It was a story. I screenshot it though. Because it needed to be said. And she has every right to speak up for her son. It said potty mouth. It said T-Rex should just apologize to Shedeur. Right. Just apologize and be loud, right? That's what people are saying about Kyrie Lacey. All of the hatred this young kid was getting, and he's falsely accused. And then the NFL doesn't invite him to the combine, revokes his combine invite because we knew he was going there, right? And it's crickets. No statement from the NFL. No statement from LSU. He graduated from LSU December 19th, the same day he made himself eligible for the draft. Where's the apologies? Interesting. It said Rex should not be saying anything about Shedeur. I agree. He shouldn't be talking about Shedeur at all. You're supposed to be talking about sports. You're not supposed to be taking personal attacks at people and slinging out racial slurs, because that's what he was doing when he was using lazy. When have Shedeur ever shown you he was lazy? He just couldn't help himself. He just been wanting to say that. He just want to attack somebody. That's all it is. That's really all it is. He couldn't take the Shedeurians backlash at all. At all. It said, I know Shedeur even put out a poll first. He should have just waited. About what? His hair? When he put out a poll asking if he should get his hair cut. Oh, Lord. His hair grows so fast. Amber right on that one. It said Randy Moss comments disappointed me. What did he say? Because it's funny. I turned the show on for Randy Moss, but I don't know what he said. I know what the guy next to him said, and I know what Rex Ryan said. I don't even know what Randy Moss was talking about. See, that's how they get you, the visual. They got me on that show with the visual. Oh, and Shedeur name was in the headline. And people was calling him out in the comments talking about, stop using Shedeur name for clickbait. Because that's what they be doing. That's what they be doing. Yeah, straight evil. Straight evil. Straight evil. It say, yup, and Rex and Mark Sanchez had the same slick crack to say about Shedeur. And look what happened to Mark Sanchez. Now, what is going on with that? Somebody will have to tell me in the comments. I was getting ready for the show. I ain't have time to get into that. I thought something happened to him, but he ended up getting arrested. So let me know what y'all know. I didn't know he had nothing to say about Shedeur. I told you there are people that believe that they are winning, but they starting to lose. Haslam over there is coming. Stay tuned. They losing. They losing. That's why I said Russell Wilson and Shedeur Sanders should have texted each other LOL, because they both got shunned for somebody else when they were the best. The others were propped up. All of these raggedy teams, the Titans too. Everything about Kyron's case frustrates me. It should. It should. It's a sad situation. Yeah. It honestly, I was like, how many Kyrons are there that we really don't know about? Karma is showing up everywhere. It is, Tina. Delmar said, such an unbelievable tragedy. And that officer should be stripped of everything, right? He should be in jail. It's funny, in Louisiana, it's two things happening, right? The Kyron Lacey case is huge because it's the most recent. But last week, right before that, a black former 911 leader of like the boss or whatever, a black man was kind of over 911, and he in jail. They got him quick. So apparently there was an accident. This also involves a car accident. And something about, they say he lied about it and did something falsified. In other words, he lied about a car accident. He tried to cover it up or something. But because he led the 911 division, that man is sitting in jail in handcuffs in an orange jumpsuit crying talking through an interview. Meanwhile, Kyron Lacey is the story underneath the story about the 911 person. Kyron Lacey is the story under that. And he deceased because they lied on him. So I was like, so if you black, they can lie on you and say you did something. You didn't falsify the report and throw you in jail. And hopefully you got bail so you can get out. Hopefully you got money so you can hire a lawyer. Because if Lacey had a public defender, we would not know anything about those cameras. But then if you work for the government, like the 911 part, I don't think that's private. And you do something wrong, they're gonna get you. So they're gonna get you either way. If you didn't do it, and if you did. That's the message. I'm gonna tell y'all this one part. The district attorney for Lafourche Parish, where the accident happened, had in her report that Kyron Lacey couldn't have known that he caused the accident. Well, see, I have a problem with that because he did not cause that accident. But that's what it said. And my issue with this whole subject is the NFL revoking his combine invite with absolutely no evidence. And LSU seemingly not intervening because this your star athlete. This kid just graduated from here. You know he a good kid. The district attorney for Lafourche Parish went to law school at LSU. You not gonna tell me that there was no conversation about that kid. The way people use their connections, you not gonna tell me the NFL revoked that kid's combine invite. With all of the investigative resources that they have and how they fly people in to colleges to talk about the players they want to draft, that there was no conversation about what was in the DA's report, that there's no way he was guilty. The evidence was already out there when his combine invite was revoked. So LSU alum is the district attorney in Lafourche Parish. And nobody at LSU in the top talked to the DA's office and got the info that this ain't on him. Nobody. Not the NFL, nobody. I don't believe that for 1 second. Ain't no way. New Orleans, Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Thibodeau, it ain't even that big. They already knew each other anyway. But when you go to law school there and you the DA and that's what's in your report, and LSU don't make no damn statement, the NFL don't make no statement, and Kyron Lacey was brought into the NFL draft last year on camera with Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors. And the NFL shared that post. But it has not made one statement about taking away his combine invite, and he killed himself 2 weeks before the draft. So you don't think that negatively impacted him, and you had him on camera, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed and happy for Malik Neighbors and Jaden Daniels, but you take away his combine invite and all your investigative resources that you do, because y'all be looking into not just them, but their neighbors and their dogs and their cats, but you didn't find out that wasn't his fault. No, ma'am. No. If you notice, the establishment media isn't talking about it. The NFL hadn't said anything. They just sent out a post, the reminder of the 2024, and maybe that was last year, somebody reposted it. And I asked the question, how could y'all revoke his combine invite? How could you take that away from him with no evidence that he was guilty? Do you hear them talking about it? Do you hear LSU saying anything? He graduated from there. He played ball for them. He was their star athlete. You know what first round athletes do for recruiting? They all tight-lipped. Well, now, in the state of Louisiana, there's a push for the attorney general to investigate why it is that police report was fabricated in the first place. And that's a very good question, because you can hear them saying, we'll get the green Charger. Why was it so important to get the green Charger that you covered up for the lady in the white car who actually killed that man? Why was it so important to get the green Charger? This ain't about X's and O's. There's something else going on here. And let's understand something. Kyron Lacey was coming into the same draft class as Shedeur and you saw and you see how he's being treated. Quashawn Junkins, falsely accused. Isaiah Bond, falsely accused. Kyron Lacey, falsely accused. Shedeur Sanders, falsely accused. All top first round athletes. Quashawn Junkins, Isaiah Bond, devalued. Kyron Lacey, deceased. Shedeur Sanders, devalued. And ain't nobody talking about it. That's what I said. Why didn't LSU stand up for him? Right. Yep, he was hobbling around. You talking about Coach Prime? Yep. Coach Prime need to retire from CU. This team has become a mess. Why would he retire, Miss Pamela? It said, I wish he leave and go be with his family. I mean, you might get your wish. It said the hate online isn't worth it. It's not. And to be honest with you, I wondered how much the stress of what's going on at CU, how much of the stress of what's going on with Shedeur. I think that part he got handled. But the stress of what's going on with CU, I wonder how much the stress causes. Like, I don't know the impact of stress on blood clots. Like, I don't know what makes them come, what makes them, what makes them appear in the first place, or what makes them exacerbated. I don't know. But I did wonder about that. So that's a good point, Amber. The stress, the hate, the stress, it's not worth it. Will it take us another 400 years to figure some things out? Probably. It said when you constantly fly, you run the risk of getting blood clots. Okay. See, that's what I mean. Like, what's the, I guess you could say the negatives, the side effects. So that's why people after the game, when they heard him say that he had blood clots, but he did say he had an appointment on Monday, they were like, well, you don't need to fly back. You should go to the emergency room. But I forgot they were in Dallas. So I'm thinking maybe he stayed there. Pat Schumer set CP up to fail. That's what it's looking like. And I think it's because that's what he wanted to do, number one. But the more concerning part, after Coach Prime brought in Leftwich and that went south, it seems to me that somebody else has allowed Schumer to stay and do what he's doing. And that's benefit the other teams. See, you can let Schumer go on and be the coach and he can stop. That's what I think he wants. It said, when I heard somebody say Coach Prime don't want to play stop because he's white, I said, I bet these are conversations that they have. And that's not the case. Stop is not good. Prayers to Coach Prime, believe in God to heal him completely. Amen. Amen. It said you can get blood clots from a certain, you can what? Get blood clots from a certain shot that was available for the virus. Oh, really? As a side effect? It said Coach Prime said he's in pain during some of the games, right? And remember, it took him a long time to come back this year. So, and he does have a clause in his contract, a buyout for his health. He does have a buyout clause regarding his health. I forgot what it said though, but you can go read it. But he does have one. So, and it could happen. Prayers to Coach Prime. It is also possible that what happened to his boys broke his heart. Watching what has happened. That's true too. A lot of people say they think his heart not really in it like it was because he only got into coaching for his sons. And now that they all gone, that maybe he just somehow lost the passion for it. And that's possible because it did take him a long time to come back. I noticed how long it took him to come back. Arch Manning has as many losses as Salter. Right. Arch Manning is bad. He's not good. Right. But you don't hear nobody trying to bitch him, though. That's what I was saying. Now there's tape on this clown show. What are you talking about, Jay? Let me know. It said Arch Manning helmet came off. That's why the coach took him out. So I did see his helmet come off. So he took him out for a play or two. When he went to the tent to do like the concussion thing, is that what they do? Okay, thank you for that. But we still need to make adjustments like that. I don't think it would hurt unless somebody thinks something wrong with it, but I don't. Hey, Kiel, how you doing? How you doing? It said Kyron is not good. It said the moment is too much for him. He looks scared. No. The 2-yard line call was trash. Of course it was trash. How? What? Okay, we got degrees of difficulty to complete an assignment. I'm on the 2-yard line and I can score a touchdown. I've been running the ball all night, but I'm going to throw it in. And then when I throw it in and TCU get 15-yard penalty, that helps me, right? Shouldn't I take that gift and run the ball in? No, I throw it back to the same person, and now he in double coverage. That's play calling, people. That's play calling. Dylan Gabriel had a sleeve. Yeah, everybody got one, don't they? Matter of fact, I was looking to see if Arch Manning had one because he got the long thing on. I think he got a sleeve. I thought most of them had sleeves. Shedeur had a sleeve. That's the point. Arch Manning should have a sleeve. Juju should have one. Staub should have one. It said bring in Juju and look to the future. Not yet. Not yet. You got to be careful with Juju because the media trying to chew him up and spit him out, and he was already put in a bad situation. Sports is fixed. It said the Schumer sabotage is literally making Coach Prime sick. He needs to get a medical retirement. He actually has some type of clause in his contract that speaks to his. There's certain reasons he could walk away from CU and the buyout changes. So health is one, and retirement is another one. It would make a difference if Schumer is calling the plays. Thank you for saying that because people really don't understand that. That's why I always point back to the Delaware game. Pat Schumer called the plays on all three of those, including U of H. That the game was called the way it was, so Staub could look good, and he did. And Coach Prime could change his mind and bench Salter for Staub, and he did. And then we went on to play U of H, and the same crappy game was called. And Staub looked terrible. And to me, it just helped U of H look good. So I don't really know. I know Schumer prefers Staub, but he made him look bad too. It don't matter who the quarterback is. That's the point. Schumer is the one that got to go. It's Schumer or Coach Prime. Somebody got to go. Three and a half. What's that, Brian? 3.5. It said he doesn't fit their system. Caden was fine at Liberty. No, it's not the system. Plays, game plans are for quarterbacks. They have game plans like they talked about Cleveland. Shedeur's better off at QB3 because the game plan is tailored to Dylan as a quarterback. Pat Schumer is supposed to call a game tailored to a dual threat. He don't want to because he don't like them. Most of them are. He don't like the dual threat quarterback. He liked the old stodgy pro style offense that they tried to break down Vince Young into, where you just stand in the pocket like Flacco and throw the ball. He don't want to tailor a game to Salter because then we might win. And I don't think he won't see you to win. Don't be surprised we go 4-8. There's a message. There's a message. Hey, CJ, welcome back. It says CU team is not as good as last year. That's fact. It's going to be a long season. That's fact. Red shirt Juju this year. That could happen, I guess. Wide open receivers in the end zone. To the left or to the right? You talking about wide open receivers in the end zone. Bro, we was on a 2-yard line and Pat Schumer called a pass play when it should have just been a tush push. Come on, hell on, bro. Come on. And you should be upset that Sincere Brown didn't even get no targets until the second half. And you should be upset that there were no deep balls until the second half. That's not football. That's what you should be upset about. Then you deal with Pat Schumer first. Then you deal with Caden. You don't move Caden out the way and put Juju in to deal with Pat Schumer. We already saw that experiment. It failed. When the light bulb burned out in the closet, you don't burn down the whole house. You go in the house, go in the closet, and you change the light bulb. Get rid of Pat Schumer. He the light bulb. Then again, Cater might be the light bulb in this scenario. I don't know. Newmark says Salter doesn't see the field. Oh, stop. Salter got you 14 points. How many times did Salter get you 14 points and your OC blew it? How many times that happened? It's not like he didn't get you no points. He got you points. You just mad that you can't see the play calling to understand. Yeah, he gonna make mistakes. Why you keep calling the same play? He don't have a sleeve, so he ain't calling no plays. Nobody wants to accept that fact. He not used to playing like that. The problem is he didn't even come to Colorado for that. He came to Colorado for what Shedeur was doing. What was Shedeur doing? Wearing a sleeve, number one. I don't know if he knew Shedeur was calling his own plays. I didn't. And you see, they didn't tell nobody. But the NFL talked about it. They didn't tell nobody because no quarterback is going to see you that got to buck the OC. Just fire the OC. And that's the problem. We're supposed to struggle for this season, waste these kids' time that's headed to the next level, regardless of what that is, rather than fire Pat Schumer. Okay. And I think that's why Pat Schumer is throwing the games. That's why. It's called revenge. Look at who we lost to and look at who we get ready to play. You should be able to predict who you're going to win with and who you're going to lose with. You're going to beat West Virginia. Maybe. But that's it. How many games have we won? 2? So you got West Virginia, you got one more. Let's see who in the Big 12. Let's see what we look like, the Big 12 look like today. The Big 12 today. Let's see. All right. Let me share my screen so y'all can see this. It is Big 12 standings. We're going to talk about who it is you're going to really beat. Yeah, I think a lot of Buff fans, we are looking at the game, just Colorado. We're not looking at college football to see what's really going on. We want what we had last year. That's so far gone. That's what I said yesterday. The reality is we're not good. We're not struggling. We got to start over. And you got to start by getting rid of your offensive coordinator. And you might need to get rid of your defensive coordinator because the defense did give up 35 points. But can you get rid of either one of them? Is it going to be them or you? It could be. All right. So now you see, you're looking at my screen. You're looking at the Big 12. Who's at? Oh, look who at number 1. Is that BYU that just beat us and we could beat them? They're 2-0 in conference play, 5-0 overall. Ooh, they undefeated. They have won 5 games straight. Imagine how we spoiled their parade. Texas Tech dropped to number 2 behind BYU because at first Texas Tech was first. So now they're 2-0 in conference and 5-0. And then we have Arizona State. They're 2-0 and they lost one, I think. They're overall 4-1. Cincinnati's up there. What? 4-1. Iowa State 5-1. I think we play them next, don't we? What do they have to lose? You should know. Drop it in the chat. Why would the play caller throw the game for Iowa State to win? What is it that they have at stake? Throw it in the chat. You should know. I've already talked about it. Baylor, we don't play them this year, though. They're 2-1, 4-2 overall. Kansas, 4-2. Arizona, 4-1. Houston, we already lost to them. Oh, they must have lost the game because they were undefeated. 4-1. Conference play, they're only 1-1. TCU, 4-1. We could have handed them a loss. Utah, 4-1. We play them, I think, week after next. Kansas State, or upcoming, I should say. Kansas State, 2-4. We played them last. And UCF, 3-2 overall, 0-2 in conference play. Then there's Oklahoma State, who fired their coach, and they still above us. 1-4. That means we pretty damn bad if they fired their coach and they still going. They've lost games. They fired their coach. Colorado, 0-3, 2-4. And West Virginia, 2-4, just like Colorado. That's who you're gonna beat. Maybe. Depending on what they got at stake. All right, so let me see in the comments what y'all think. Y'all know what it is why it is that Iowa State would be allowed to beat us. What do they have at stake? Allowed to beat us like Georgia Tech, BYU, that be first in the Big 12, U of H, and Texas Christian, TCU. Let's see what y'all saying. I'm waiting on y'all to give me the answer as to why Iowa State would be allowed to beat us. Why we could go up 14-0 against them and lose the game again. Let me know. CU needs a new OC. Facts all day, all day, all day, all day, all day, all day. And I don't know how people can't see it. It's that Schumer is already setting back future recruitment. He tearing it all down. Not just future recruits, but future black QBs. Because remember we had the little fella on the ground. Caden only had 16 reps. That's how you run off another black quarterback. You mistreat the black quarterback you have and show that the coach that's recruiting you is not in charge. The OC is. Let's see if that kid still come to see you. The Bucs need an OC who knows college football because it's not the same game as the NFL. I'll take it. I just know we need a new one. CU needs Byron Leftwich as the OC. Baby, he done came and went. He came and went. The man came and went. And I think what happened is I think Coach Prime wanted to replace Schumer for whatever reason. But I think it has a lot to do with what Schumer said about Shedeur. That for sure. I think that was also one of the reasons he was slow to come back. These are just my thoughts. Because he knew what he was coming back to. And I even said that. How the hell could you even go back to deal with that when somebody stabbed your son in the back? Now they stabbing you in the back. So if I stab Shedeur in the back, why wouldn't I stab Coach Prime in the back? Why would I let him live and not his son? Why would I do that? That's why I'm taking him down too. That's why any school with something to gain is going to have their way with us. And I don't care if y'all go up 14 points to 21. You're going to eventually, it's going to be rolled back because that's what happened every single time. So I asked the question, why would Iowa State be allowed to beat us? And Monique said, because they could go to a bowl game. That's good. That's not it. Who's their quarterback? Is it Sam Levitt? Let me see. Iowa State. Rocco Bates. Yeah. We ain't winning that game. That's why. What's his classification? Let me see. Rocco Bates is a junior, which means he's eligible for the NFL. In the 2025 season alone, he's already thrown for 1,400 yards. Jesus, Lord, that can't be right. 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 71.2 QBR rating. Rocco Bates, is that right? 1,100 yards? That can't be right. Yeah, I guess it can be. It can be. They must have a good passing game. Okay. 14-17. Wow. Yep. That's it. That's your answer right there. Rocco Bates is your answer. And if you play Arizona State and his name is Sam Levitt and he a junior, that's the answer over there too. Watch what I tell you. Let's see what happened. Unless Pat Schumer see this podcast. Donald Muhammad. I remember when Shedeur mentioned it. They're talking about something else. Let's see. It said, good what? Good old boys club. Yeah. And think about it, right? There's only been in 135 years of football. We get ready to wrap this up. In 135 years of football for Colorado, 135 years. That's a long time to be playing football. I've only had in 135 years 4 black black head coaches. 4 black head coaches. And they all came in the span from 2012. Then it stopped. Then it started again in 2019. And then Coach Prime and somebody in between. Right? So Coach Prime you're not any different than the guy in 2012 that we gave 2 years to get it together. You're not any different than the guy in 2019 that we gave 2 years to get it together. I think that might have been Mel Tucker. I think he was going 5-7, just like Coach Prime went 4-8. And he got the call from Michigan State. I think he left. Then they got the other guy. And they let him go 1-11, and they fired him mid-season. So he truly didn't take them to 1-11. He just didn't have a winning season. And they got rid of him. That's 3. Coach Prime is not having a winning season. His first year wasn't a winning season. Thankfully, year 2 was. So maybe they'll give him 4 years. Coach Prime is the longest tenured black head coach at Colorado. And understand this. It ain't going so good right now. And it's not because he's losing. His season is being manipulated with, just like it was in year one. And he was allowed to move on from that person. It's not looking like he's allowed to move on from this person, which tells you that it could be just like the other black guy. Time to go. We're going to see. That's the one thing about it. We're going to see. Schumer's horrible and predictable. Oh my God, yes. It said, check out the Black Authority on Kevin Lacey. Okay, all right, I will. All right, y'all, we're going to get out of here. Thank you so much. The people in Thibodeau had a lot to say. I haven't had time to read it, but it's a lot out there. Yeah, this was good. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. I took my time to put together. Don't forget, support the channel and go shopping at whatshesaidsports.com and celebrate Halloween. Have some Halloween apparel out there. And don't forget, get your Shedeur gear out there as well. All right. And don't forget to run me my money. All right, y'all. I'm going to get out of here. I'll see y'all tomorrow. This was awesome. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Good night, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.